Hey everybody, how is everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's doing great and enjoying their summer. If there's somewhere where it's warm, if you're watching this and you're somewhere where it's cold or it's cold now, stay warm. And then we will try to do the opposite, which is stay cool right now with, Anyways, I just wanted to make this video, guys. Just talking about all the things that you need to do to be safe when it comes down to resin printing. And there's a lot of videos out there that can help you. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more thorough videos out there as well that'll talk to you a little bit more in detail as to why you need to be safe with resin. I'm just going to go over the things that I do. I figured that'd be something that I can do for you guys here. If you're a subscriber and if you like my content, then you'll probably watch this video. And it could help you out if you need to resin print. So let's talk about what resin printing is before we get into all the safety precautions. That way you know why we use them. So resin, as you guys may or may not know, is a very, very, very bad thing for you. Yes, you can 3D print it, and once it's cured and washed and re-cured, make sure it's fully cured, then it is extremely safe to handle with your hands, but you don't want to touch resin before it is even fully cured. You don't want to touch it in liquid form. You don't want to touch prints straight off out of the printer. You don't want to touch them after they're out of the wash station. You only want to handle them with your bare fingies once they have been done and run through the cure station for an appropriate amount of time. So why shouldn't you touch resin? Because there are a lot of people who are actually really, really allergic to it and give you a really bad reaction. So that could be, it could chemical burns. It can be a rash. It can just be a lot of pain. It can be a lot of really bad things. You also don't want to eat it as nice as it might look. The clear ones looking like Jolly Rancher liquid. Don't want to eat that. You don't want to get it anywhere near your hands. You don't want to get it on your clothes, your hair, your eyes, your face, anywhere. You don't even really want to breathe in the chemicals, the fumes that come off of this stuff, because it's also really, really bad for your lungs. Why? I'm no chemist. I don't know exactly why. I just know that it is an irritant and it can cause a plethora of reactions. And you might be one of the lucky persons that's like, hey, I've touched resin before it's been cured and I've been perfectly fine. You don't want to keep doing it, because resin its reaction to your body can get worse over time the more you're exposed to it. So you want to limit your exposure to it if you currently don't really have any type of reaction to it. I don't really have a reaction to it. I've touched it on accident a couple of times. I just get kind of a little warm tingly sensation on my fingers, and then I just quickly wash it with some water and some soap. I also like to run some alcohol over it, because it is, you can wash it off with alcohol, but I like to run it with alcohol, go upstairs, wash my hands with water and soap, and make sure it's fully off of my skin, just because you might not feel it right now, but maybe 6 months down the line, if you're not using any gloves and just sticking your hand inside of the vat playing with it, your hand might fall off. So just be safe. All right. So let's go over the things that I do. There's a couple of different things that I do to keep myself safe and my family safe and people around me safe. And that is using a lot of air ventilation down here. So when it rains, it's a little bit hard because I can't really open that window. But what I do have running down here is a bunch of stuff. So I have a dehumidifier down here in the corner. It doesn't filter out the air, but I do have an air filter right off camera here. You guys can't really see it. It's right here. And then I have one inside of there. And when it's nice and warm and sunny out, I leave that window open as well. I also have a bulkhead door over here that I like to open, and then another window over here that I leave open. So just to air everything out. So when everything is actually running down here, so when the dehumidifier is running, when that fan, that air purifier right there is running, and the one in here are running, you can barely smell anything down here. You can faintly smell resin, but that's just because it's a relatively strong odor. With some of the resins that are out there, it's some are stronger than the others. But as long as this is actually closed, this is open right now. But once this is closed and that's running on the inside, and I have that one running over here, and I have the dehumidifier running right here, can't really smell anything. And then just leaving the window open or opening the bulkhead up during a nice warm day is just to get it all out, because you don't want it to be that you're getting used to the smell and therefore everybody around you can smell it, because then that's not good either. So yeah, so I don't know if you guys, I'll see if I can point it. It's right in that corner right there, the little white. Yeah, it's right there. I bought some carbon filters for it from Amazon. For these, they were relatively cheap, and I just have to switch them out every so often. But they do a pretty good job of keeping it not smelling super bad down here. What will happen every once in a while when the dehumidifier gets full, it will stop, and then the air isn't really circulated enough with just the small one out here and with one in there. So I have to, empty this out and turn it back on, and then the smell will eventually, it'll go away, and it's fine. Everything's great. Speaking about protecting your lungs, you get these. You want to get a respirator to protect your lungies from inhaling all those terrible fumes. I bought this off of Amazon years ago to spray paint some things that I made, and it came with not these filters. These are our activated carbon filters. This is what you need for handling resin. The ones that came on it were just for painting, which isn't as bad. Oh my goodness, I can't get this on now. I broke it. It isn't as bad as resin is. So, come on. Struggling. There we go. Got it back on. And you want to make sure that it covers your whole face. So make sure it's nice and tight. And you want to make sure, too, one of the things that I learned about these masks is you want to make sure you can't smell anything in there. You want to make sure that you don't smell alcohol that you're using, and you want to make sure you don't smell the resin in here. If you do, and you've had your filters on there for a while, it's time to replace them as soon as possible because they're no longer doing what they're supposed to be doing. These just got replaced a couple of weeks ago. I started to smell a little bit of the alcohol come through, and just a hint of resin. So I decided that it was time to go ahead and switch them out. They're on Amazon. They're relatively cheap. I'll have links to all of this stuff down below if you guys want to buy it. But yeah, switch these out. You don't have to switch them out super often. I write down when they were manufactured. I don't know why that I write that particular date down, but that's when they were manufactured. So yeah, you want to get you a couple of these and make sure you can breathe because you don't want to smell that resin. Next thing for protecting your face. I have long hair, so I like to use my hats when I'm down here working with the resin, mainly because I don't want my hair to get into my face and me accidentally move it with a glove full of resin and then have resin in my hair, and then it's a nightmare for everybody. So I like to wear a hat. Next thing for protecting your face is going to be some goggles. These are super important. I was rocking it without them for a little while, then I learned why you need them, and that is because I got a little bit excited with print and started to take off supports before I had run it through the wash station, and I got some splattered on me. Thankfully nothing in my eyes or in my mouth. It was just a little bit that got like on my cheek. I was able to wash it off, rub it off with a little bit of alcohol, and then go wash my face with some soap and water, and I was perfectly fine. But that's why you want something like this. You want to be able to protect those eyes from resin getting in there right there, because you need to see if you want to keep 3D printing. I mean, come on now. Who doesn't want to stop? Who wants to stop seeing? It's crazy. But yeah, get yourself a nice pair of goggles. These, you don't have to get these fancy ones. I just got them because they're DeWalt and they're cool. But you can get like any pair of goggles. It'll work as long as it has a covering at the top and maybe some at the bottom, or they're just nice and snug so that things don't go in from underneath. If you accidentally drop a bottle of resin and it shoots up, and then you don't accidentally start to shower in resin, and then you can't, make sure nothing gets passed into your hole into your eyes in any way. Oh my goodness, what is happening right now? Let's move on to the next thing. The most important thing, the thing that you probably see in every single video that they mention, some nitrile gloves. So you don't want to use latex gloves. I guess they're not designed to be able to let they're designed in a way that makes it so that resin can get through. That's what I'm trying to say here. And I guess nitrile gloves aren't. I get the 6 mil one, which is the thickness of them. 6 mil. I don't know. That's what it says that the thickness is. But I just buy these honestly because they're stupid cheap on Amazon. I think a box of one of these is like, I don't know, $16, $19, something like that. And the ones that I bought originally were a little bit more expensive, and I was like, I'm not paying that again. I'm just gonna buy cheaper black gloves. So yeah, make sure to get yourself a lot of these. Always, 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 always put these on all the time when you're handling anything that could have resin on it, or that has had resin on it, or that is resin. You want to make sure you put these puppies on before you touch anything. Unless your machine's brand new out of the box and you're just taking it out, you don't really need gloves. But as soon as resin goes in the vat, anytime at least for me, anytime I touch my machine, I put on gloves. And always, always, always have these in stock. If you don't have these and you just ran out, guess what? You can't resin print, homie. You gotta go out and buy yourself some from Target. Target sells some, but they're small blue packs. Let's see. There's a couple of local stores for me that sell these, but you wanna buy these in larger amounts because it's cheaper and it's easier if you just have them. All right, one other thing that I have that came with my wash and cure station were some UV glasses here. Look nice and snazzy. You want to get these guys right here if you're going to be doing a lot of curing with either a lamp or a tiny little pen lamp that doesn't have a shield over it to protect those beautiful pearly whites that you have there. Pearly whites? Eyes aren't pearly white. They're different colors, but the background is white, so we'll keep that going. You need these if you're using something like this setup with a turntable. I'm not going to turn it, it's unplugged. With a turntable, just to protect your eyes. You could be used literally from the moment you turn it on to the moment you leave the room, or in my case, leave the basement, or watch it cure with these glasses on. Don't take them off and just stare straight into this. You'll burn your eyes, and it won't be pretty. You also want to wear these if you're going to run tests on your machine without the vat installed, or with no resin in the vat, because again, UV rays aren't great for your eyes. So something like this, buy yourself some UV resistant goggles. It'll save your eyeballs. Again, save all the things. And last but certainly not least in my list of things that I personally use, and that is going to be, I'll actually just put it on. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I think I did that right. Hopefully I can edit it in. But this, an apron. So this, I believe I mentioned this in one of my other videos. It makes it so that if there's any splashback of resin, or if I'm handling a part and something slips and it lands on me, it doesn't actually touch my shirt, and therefore I don't have to throw away my shirt. This I will wash off, and let if resin gets on it, I will put some alcohol on it, let it sit for a little bit, and then try to rub it out, and then wash it in a load that doesn't have that many things that are sensitive. But this is what I like to put on: my hat, my goggles, my mask, my gloves, and I look like, if somebody walked down here, they think I was in the show Breaking Bad. And that's not the case. I'm just 3D printing things. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot more things you can do to be a lot more safe. There are many, many, many things that you can buy to essentially cover up your entire body to make sure that, if any resin spills anywhere, you're fine. On top of wearing, either a hairnet, a hat, putting your hair up, or whatever, putting on your goggles, putting on your respirator. And you can also buy something that has a little hood, so it looks like you're in a clean room. You can do whatever it is that you'd like to protect yourself. At the end of the day, what's most important is that you protect yourself and your body and those around you. Just because resin gets on you, and who knows how your body may react. It could have no reaction whatsoever. It could have a minor reaction, or it could have an extremely bad reaction. And that's just something to protect yourself. You don't want to find out what you're going to get. So don't go around touching resin and seeing how bad it is, because it can be very, very bad for you, and it is very toxic in its uncured state. So just make sure to stay safe. Put on whatever gear you need, and make sure that you're going to be all right, and make sure you also keep those around you safe. So how about we put everything on from scratch so you can see what that looks like for me, from my perspective, from your perspective, to looking at me, watching me put everything on. So let's do that, and then I will show you guys the setup that I have right behind me that also helps with keeping everything nice and clean and safe. All right? I'm going to take this off first because you guys want to see the whole process. I want to make you guys see the whole process. All right, so first things first. Let's get it. All right, let's get everything on. Alright guys, so this is going to sound kind of bad, but this is essentially what I look like when I'm getting ready to take things off of my printer or change out the resin or anything like that. Keep in mind, hold on. Oh. Keep in mind that putting all of this stuff on does take some time. Whew, it's not that it's difficult to breathe in this, but you definitely can't run a marathon in it. It's going to be just for whatever momentary you need to do to get that going. I don't recommend the masks that come with the printer, the ones that are just like your regular medical masks. Those don't filter out anything. They have activated carbon in them, but they you know how they work. They have giant holes on the side. This might not fit right. It might not be right around here. And you have lots of entries for resin to get in, and you're still breathing it in. So it's better to buy one of these guys and save your lungs. It is a little hard to breathe. I would say when you buy it, just practice breathing in it while you're sitting down. If you're a little bit concerned with how it feels, just so you can get a feel for it. And then when you're doing stuff like this, it's literally you're just wearing it until you're done, and then you can take it off, and it's not forever. I sound like Darth Vader. Luke, I am not your father. But yeah, so let me show you around here so you can see the setups that I have back behind me. We'll get a little bit closer here in a second, so come on, let's get closer. All right guys, I'm going to be slightly off camera just so I can show you everything, but this is the setup that I have currently. This seals up completely, and then you just have, let me bring this down a little, just a smidge, so you guys can see what's in there. There we go. Yeah, so this is my setup. I have obviously my Resin 3D printer here. This is the little filter I was telling you guys about, and then I have some tools in here. So I have the bib, I have a silicone mat, I have one of these funnels for when I switch out filament, and then a couple of 3D printed things like this guy to allow it to drip inside of here, and then this guy as well, which has some resin on it, which is why I have the gloves on, just to scrape off the resin if needed on the top, just because we all know that it accumulates there and it's pretty bad. But yeah, this is essentially the setup. There is some resin in there now that's going to get changed out in a little bit for some nice clear resin. Alright guys, so this is my wash and cure station. It's the Mercury Max, something like that, I believe. It's from Elegoo. I do have two tubs. I have one with slightly old and used IPA that I use for an initial wash on the parts. I also have, this is a little bit off camera, a spray bottle with some nice clean IPA that I keep here so that I can spray the parts off a little bit and then throw them in the dirty IPA to do an initial wash, bring them back out, and then just remove supports. Once I remove the supports, then they get washed. All the supports and everything get washed inside of this fresh alcohol, and then it's laid out to dry. If it's still a little dirty from being in there, I use the spray it, and then I use a little brush. One of these. It came with my Sunlu resin. I use one of these to just kind of get those areas so it's nice and clean. And then, so I had a comment of somebody saying, how do you like the mess? So resin is very messy. This whole area here has had resin on it, which is why no matter what I do, anything that I touch in this area, I wear gloves, and I make sure to try to wipe down everything that's here with some alcohol every so often just to keep it nice and clean. This thing for sure has had its fair share of resin pieces in it to remove support so it doesn't really go all over the place. So you want to do these things to, again, this is all safety, right? So you want to have something to remove supports in. Here I have underneath it a silicone mat that has a little bit of a lip in case there's any sort of anything comes off and goes in here, and then I have a silicone mat here to let things dry after they come out of the wash station, and then right in front of right underneath the wash station I have another silicone mat for when things come out so they can drip and not drip necessarily straight onto the table. However, It's relatively unavoidable. Yeah, you're gonna get resin all over this table, which is why you want to make sure you use gloves whenever you touch anything that's on this table at all times, or in your station, whatever your station is. You want to make sure you have gloves on no matter what you're doing, because chances are everything there has already touched resin. But yeah, this is essentially my setup. This all runs whenever there's things going on, whether they're Etsy orders or I'm testing out new resin or I want to try printing something gigantic for no reason. This is where I go and do all my stuff, and I try to clean it at least once a week. It does get really, really bad if I print a lot. There's always pieces of support somewhere. There's uncured resin on the table, and I just like to give everything a nice wipe down with some alcohol and make sure it's nice and clean for me the next time I come. But even then, always wear gloves. Just because something is clean by alcohol when it comes to resin doesn't mean that it's ready for you to touch it with your fingers. So let's get all this stuff off, and yeah, be right back. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. It's a quick little video on just the process that I use to try to keep myself and those around me safe when it comes to working with resin. You don't need the same things when it comes down to your FDM printers. Mine are down below, you can't really see them. It's just the way that it is. Unless you're printing in filaments that require you to have some sort of filtration in them, then make sure to follow those directions and use a carbon filter or put air purifiers near it, so that when it does push out those fumes, then you have the ability to clean the air as best as possible before you try breathing it in or those around you breathe it in. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate the support from all of you guys. It's been a really, really fun time. It's almost coming up on a year now that I posted my first video. I want to say thank you to everybody who's commented, who's helped me improve this channel by telling me, hey, your volume, this or that, the other thing. I take all of those and I try to make the videos better for you guys. And there's 283 or 4 of you, something like that. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you guys. Your support has been super awesome. I do appreciate every one of you guys. I did want to make a slight little announcement. I do, or am currently, have a Patreon that I recently set up for anybody who wants to jump on and watch videos before they come out, some content here and there, my resin printers and my FDM printer settings. Not that they may or may not be any help to you guys, but it might give you a starting point on where to go from there. Just because every situation, every place is different, whether it's temperature, humidity, everything like that can affect how your printers work. So make sure to use those settings if you want, and then run tests. I'll just give you guys a starting point, which is something that I wish I had with a lot of these resins, was just somewhere to start from and see if it works and then improve upon that. So I'll post on there, if you become a member, you'll be able to get those settings as well as the settings from FDM printers, and you'll get access to watching videos before everybody else before they come out on YouTube. It's going to be over on Patreon. There'll be a link down in the description below. I'll try to update it as much as I can, and any of those benefits like that will just go into making more videos for you guys. All of 100% of that will just go into this. But anyways, guys, there's a lot of announcements, actually. I also started my own podcast. I'll put a little link to it here. It's on YouTube and as well as Spotify. It's called Dad Zone. It's just me talking about my personal experiences with a toddler. My first episode got a lot of really good feedback from a couple of friends and family who listened to it. My second episode, my wife said it makes no sense. So if you watch it, I apologize for that second episode. The episodes drop every Friday. And yeah, guys, I'll put a link to that down below as well if you want to listen to it on Spotify or YouTube. I'm working on getting it up on other platforms for people to listen to. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, evening, whatever it is. And I hope you guys stay safe, stay warm if it's cold where you are, or it's cold right now when you're watching this video, or stay nice and cool in this heat. And everybody stay safe when you're resin printing. Everybody have fun when you're FDM printing or resin printing. And let's remember, guys, that 3D printing brings us all together and we all enjoy it and it's a lot of fun. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody.